With Canada getting a new prime minister tomorrow, I thought it'd be pretty cool to see where each prime minister was at something. So, randomly, I decided to do ancestral background, and the results I found is what you're about to see. We're obviously going to start this off with our first prime minister, Sir John A. Macdonald, and he was from Scotland. I don't think this surprises anyone, especially considering that he was born in Glasgow, Scotland, so he was kind of indigenous to the area. Second Prime Minister, Alexander Mackenzie, was also from Scotland, and he was born there as well in Loiseray. So, yeah, he's also from Scotland. And he also probably spoke the Scots language, but we don't know that for sure. Okay, I promise this will get a little bit more interesting. We're going to go to Sir John Abbott now, our third Prime Minister, who was actually our first Quebecois Prime Minister. That doesn't necessarily mean he was a Francophone, though. His family origin can be traced back to England. Sir John Thompson is English. He's from England. But it's also a little more interesting the fact that he actually died there as well. He died not just in some random place in England, at Windsor Castle no less, while at a dinner with the Queen in December 1894. Sir Mackenzie Bowell was our fifth Prime Minister, and our third not to be born in the country. He was born in Rickinghall, England, and of course that's where he can trace his ancestry back to. Sir Charles Tupper is way more interesting. Yes, he is from England, but he's a descendant of Richard Warren, a Mayflower pilgrim. His ancestors moved from Connecticut to Nova Scotia in the early 1760s. Seventh Prime Minister Sir Wilfrid Laurier was our first Francophone Prime Minister. He came from France, his ancestors specifically from St. Claude, France. Sir Robert Borden was the first prime minister that I can find that can trace his ancestry back to not one, but two countries. The Bordens were from England, and they were also from Ireland. The Bordens had immigrated from Kent, England to Portsmouth, Rhode Island in 1638, and then moved to Nova Scotia in the outbreak of the Revolutionary War. Arthur Meehan can trace his ancestry back to the Irish Isles, specifically Northern Ireland. His family was from County Londonderry. William Lyon Mackenzie King was very, very hush-hush about this ancestral stuff. He was definitely Scottish and potentially could have been German, judging off the fact that he was forced to learn the language at a very early age. His maternal grandfather, William Lyon Mackenzie, was born in Scotland and also became the first mayor of Toronto. Check out this award-winning video that I made on him. Richard Bedford Bennett, also known as R.B. Bennett, which is what you'll usually hear me call him, is English. He's the only Canadian Prime Minister to be buried outside of Canada. He's buried in Mickleham, England. The Bennetts had immigrated from England to Connecticut, and his father from Connecticut to Hopewell Cave, New Brunswick, where he was eventually born. Despite having a very French-sounding name, Louis Saint Laurent wasn't really as French as you might think. Sure, his dad did come from France and only spoke French, but he grew up in a really English-sized town with an Irish mother who spoke English, so he's French and he's also Irish. John G. Diefenbaker was German and Scottish. He's actually our only prime minister, which we can 100% say for certain is German. We know this because his father William was the descendant of Germans from Addersbach, and his mother Mary was the descendant of Scots. Lester B. Pearson is Northern Irish. Both of his parents' ancestral backgrounds can be traced back to the Northern Irish counties. Pierre Elliott Trudeau is a francophone. His ancestry can be traced back to Marcillac-Longueville in the 1500s with Robert Trudeau, not Trudeau with a D, but Trudeau with a T. In 1659, the first Trudeau arrived in the New World, Etienne Trudeau from La Rochelle. A quick disclaimer here. I had a hard time trying to find any ancestral background related to Joe Clark, and I couldn't find anything. So I'm not 100% sure what Joe Clark's ancestral backgrounds are. I searched up his immediate family, and I couldn't find anything going past the 1800s, and they were all already here. So I'm very confused. I'm a little bit more sure with John Turner. He's 100% English. I know this because he was born in Richmond. Despite being born and raised in the northeastern Quebec town of Baie-Comeau, Brian Mulroney is not an ancestral francophone. He is the son of Irish Canadian Catholics. Despite setting records by being the first female Canadian Prime Minister, she does not set any records with her ancestry. She is Scottish. Her father was born of Scottish immigrants in Montreal and then moved to BC in his preteens. Jean Chrétien is a francophone, and he was born and raised in Quebec. Paul Martin is Northern Irish and French. His paternal grandfather immigrated from County Mayo, and his mother and paternal grandmother were French Canadians with deep roots in the country. Stephen Harper is English. After a longer than I'd like to admit time searching his family tree, an ancestor born in 1600 exactly, named Robert Titus, was born somewhere in England before eventually immigrating to New York. His family would bounce around between New York, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, and Connecticut before eventually settling in New Brunswick and in Ontario. Justin Trudeau is obviously French. We already looked at his father. But maternally, he can trace his ancestry back to Scotland. His maternal grandfather, James Sinclair, was born in Scotland, but also interestingly, he became the Minister of Fisheries in the Louis Saint Laurent cabinet. And finally, the man of the hour, the 24th Prime Minister of Canada to be sworn in tomorrow, Mark Carney. He is Irish. Three of his four grandparents were all from Northern Ireland, three of them from Ochgower in County Mayo. The other one was from somewhere else on the Irish Isle. And there you have it. That is the ancestral background of all of Canada's prime ministers. I'm not gonna lie, when I started this, I thought it would be a little bit more diverse, but since almost all of them are from the British Isles, and only one of them not being Diefenbaker from Germany, and even still, he does have some British Isles in him, I think this is an important time to realize how much the English have really put down any other ancestral group, not only in Britain, and I'm not even just talking about the Irish here, but even in their colonies abroad. It's a shame, and I really do believe that it should be brought to light. Anyways, if I got any of this wrong, I'd love to hear it. It's not like I spent my entire morning finding out all of this, but I do like to know when I'm wrong, and I probably will pin your comment. So, thank you guys for watching.